Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to be doing a little 101 intro to makeup brushes. So I do have quite a few here. I try to pick like the most asked about or the most used brushes. I have several different types of brushes for all categories. This is not even half of my collection, so hopefully it's not too overwhelming, but I do have basically every category in this little tray. So it's gonna be a long one. Grab your favorite wine, grab your coffee, your favorite snacks, get your notepad, your pencil, your pen, whatever you want, and let's get educated. Let's not mind the crappy pigtails. I did not know what to do with my hair today. It felt like it was just very flat, which is why my braids don't look volumized. But I just didn't really have time to do my hair. So it's just me and my daughter today here. Daddy is at work. So we gotta work with what we got. You can see my microphone as well. I'm sorry. Usually I try to hide it, but today you can see it. Got some coffee. It's gonna be a long one. I guess it would just make sense to go in order of how you would apply your makeup or how I would apply my makeup. So the first thing I'm gonna do is basically first introduce the sponge. I feel like it's nice, it's simple. Some people are in love with using a sponge. Some people still use their hands, which is fine. And then other people like to use a brush. So this is the e.l.f. Total Face Sponge. You can get this at basically any drugstore. And this is seriously my favorite sponge to use. I have several favorite sponges or several sponges I love using, but this one is my #1 favorite. So this one's a brand new one. As you can see, it's not dirty or anything. It's literally brand spanking new. Brushes, on the other hand, are not new and are very dirty. So clean your brushes. If you want me to do a video on how I clean my brushes, I can definitely do that for you guys. But so how you would, I'm not really going to go into detail exactly of how, like demo wise, how you would use this, but usually you can use your sponges wet, dry if you want. But usually you would wet them. They will get more bouncy, more squishy. With the water, they won't absorb as much product because it already has all that water. And then you can use it to just dab in your foundation. Basically, these replace those little foamy wedges that used to be out there. So, and then you have like your nice little pointed edge to get under your eye. You can also use it to dip powder to like set your face if you want. And then you have like a nice little curb here that you can use to like shape out your contour, your bronzer, clean up some things, get on the side of your nose. So I do like using a sponge. It's definitely like really fast. I feel like a brush is faster, but it is pretty quick to get your makeup blended in. So again, this one is my favorite. So for foundation, I kind of picked my top 3 favorite brushes that I like to use. I do not use the typical flat foundation brushes anymore. I feel like hardly anyone uses those. Maybe to mix and first apply your foundation if you don't want to use your hands or your fingers. But for the most part, I don't use those flat, like almost look like you're painting your face, of those flat foundation brushes, you know what I mean? I actually do use those, but I use them to apply my mask. So if you ever get a brush set and it has those flat foundation brushes, I would keep them instead of throwing them away, and you can use them to apply your clay mask and stuff. This one is from Japan Quest, and this is their buffing brush. I do use this though as a foundation brush. I'm sorry guys, you're just gonna hear her a lot in the background. Like, she's a baby, she's gonna talk, she's gonna, she's not gonna just sit there in complete silence. Usually she does, usually she'll just watch TV, but right now she's talking to the dog, so sorry. So this is their buffing brush, I believe is what they call it. I like to use this as my foundation brush. This is my 100% favorite brush ever to use to apply my foundation. I love how it's like a flat top. It's almost like a little kabuki, but it's not like super dense. And it just buffs in my foundation so fast, so quickly. It's so soft, so it's really good for even to do your under eye if you really don't have time to keep switching brushes or sponges, and just to get under there and blend in your concealer too. Sometimes I literally use this for everything, like all my cream products, and then of course I wash it, but this is a really good one. this one here is from Sonia Kashuk, and this one I believe is also one of their, like, either, I don't know if she calls this her foundation brush or her buffing brush as well, but I believe this is her, like, her buffing foundation brush. I will have on the bottom or somewhere the correct name of the brush, so just ignore what I'm saying and just look at what the words are saying. So this one is another brush that I do love to use as a foundation brush. You can see my foundation there on the side, and again, it is a little bit more dense, so again, it's just really nice to buff in my foundation. It is more dense, so I feel like you might even be able to use this when you use a powder foundation. I haven't tried it yet, but I am looking through my brushes to see what brush would be nice to use with my powder foundation. But usually you will see people use more of a dense brush when they use it for powder foundation. And I'm telling you, these types of brushes are game changers when it comes to buffing in your foundation. Game changer. Another one is literally from e.l.f. It's probably the most affordable out of all these brushes. This one is the Ultimate Blending Brush. When I say that this brush is seriously the best as well, I feel like they're all good. I'm showing you all good brushes that I use seriously are my ride or die brushes. But anyways, this one here is another really good one, and like I said, it's super affordable. Sometimes you can even find these at the Dollar Tree, but if not, I usually get mine either at Ulta, because sometimes they can be a little hard to find, or Walmart. So this is another brush, again, that I use for my foundation. I also have several of these, so I do use these sometimes for my cream contour. It's another good brush for cream contour. So, but this brush, oh my God, it just makes your foundation look so seamless, so flawless, so airbrushed, and this is what it looks like. So it's basically, again, almost like a Kabuki style brush. It's rounded up at the top, and it's not like as loose as this one. It's definitely more compact, so you can like kind of see the comparison. So at the end of the day, it's all about you experimenting and kind of seeing what you like on your face, how you like your makeup applied. But all three of these are really good for applying your foundation or liquid products. All right. Next would be powder. So of course, you got your foundation on, you got your concealer on. Now most likely you need to set everything if you want to. So these are like my top 3 now favorite powder brushes. This one is from Equal Tools, and this one is their full powder brush. So majority of the time when you get a brush, it will have usually on the brush somewhere what it is for. Oh my God, it's always snowing. It's so crazy how it's always snowing every single time I'm filming. Usually on your brush, it will say what the brush is for. Now, that could help you if you have no idea what the brush is for and how to use it, but also you don't have to go by that. So if you get a brush and you start figuring out like what you like for your bronzer, what you like for your powder, and it's a brush, you're like, you know what, I would probably use that more for blush than I would for contour, or what I would for bronzer. There's no rules. You can use the brush for whatever you want and however it feels most comfortable on your face. So this one is a powder brush, and I do like to use it as a powder brush. It's a little bit more dense, but it's also like more like rounded as well. And this one, I just kind of like to quick dust some powder all over my face, swirl it on, and then I'm good to go. Well, this one is drugstore, and it's a good one. This one is another affordable brush, and this one's way bigger. So as you can see the difference, it is way bigger. So this one is very dense as well, but it's actually, you know, but it's not as like compact as this one here. So it does fan out more up at the top. It's way more like rounded and bigger. So this one is a powder brush as well, and definitely love to use it as a powder brush. So this one I believe is from Chic Pro, and this one is a Five Below brush. So this is the exact brand that they sell at Five Below. I think it is part of Five Below's like brand, like Equate is found at Walmart, you know, that sort of thing. So again, they have different ones. I think they're like $5 and under. Some are $3, $4, $2, you know, so depending on the brush, it's all $5 and under. This one I think is $4 or $5. But for this, I like to dip it in my powder, and then I'll just pounce it, not really, because it's so big and dense, I don't want to disturb my makeup. So I would just dip it in the powder and then just use it as a big powder brush, and boom, done. That's another nice one. This one is a powder brush as well, and this one's from Glamlight. So this one's going to be a little bit more pricey. It's so freaking beautiful. It's almost like the middle of these two. It's not as big, but it's definitely fluffier than this one. And so it's like right in the middle. It's all about what you're looking for. But again, this is a brush that I can swirl or I can pounce. This one is not really one that I mean, you can pounce with this one too, but this one I kind of swirl more. But yeah, so powder brushes. They're usually bigger, fluffier, and really soft. So you apply concealer under your eye. Again, you can always dip your sponge into the powder, and bless you, mama, and kind of just pat the powder under your eye. I sometimes do that, but then depending on the concealer, sometimes the moisture of the sponge with that concealer, it starts breaking up, and so it's not always my favorite, and I don't do it all the time because once a mistake happens with my makeup, it's hard to redo it when I'm usually always in a rush and I have to go to work and whatever. So I usually use a brush to apply the powder. So these two are my top two brushes that I like to use for under eye. This is a good example as I'm not using these brushes for what they're intended for. This one is a basically tapered foundation brush when I bought it. I don't know the name of it, so I do apologize. I did find this either at Marshall's or TJ Maxx. But it's seriously, I have never used it as a foundation brush, by the way. Maybe like to get into your nose. I don't know how they really intended this for, but I like to use this brush as a powder brush for my under eye because of how it's shaped. So I will dip it in my powder and then I will it just fits perfectly, all the way in the inner corner, above my eye, you know, just perfectly. If I want to really set real good in my nose, not in my nose, but you know, in the little creases of my nose, perfect. This is what I use to set my under eye. Another one, this one is from Alamal Cosmetics. This one is a Latina owned brand. So this one is a brightening brush. So I'm not really quite sure how she intended this brush to be used. I don't know if she thought of it as a highlight, you know, so just highlight, or to get some brightening powder and kind of use it for under your eye. I love this brush for under my eye, although it does kind of get built up pretty quickly, so you do have to wash it more frequently. I mean, you should always be washing your brushes, but this one stays soft really for a long time. This one, after a while, it does start to get kind of scratchy, so you have to wash it and then it's fine again. But yeah, I still enjoy it though, to really pack on the powder under my eye. So just very quickly, I wanted to shout these two out. It's so hard to move around when you have a mic on you. So for bronzer, I have quite a few different brushes. And again, there's so many brushes out there for so many things that I might not even cover a brush that you have in your collection. So if you guys don't know me, if you know me or don't know me, you guys could always just send me a picture of your brush, ask me how I would use it or how it's best to be used, and I will definitely be more than happy to help you guys out. So for bronzer though, I did pick out quite a few bronzers from my collection, bronzer brushes from my collection, because I feel like there's just a lot to go over when it comes to bronzer. So this one is, again, a lot of times they will have it on here. So this one is intended to be a bronzer brush, and I think it's from Equate. And you can get this at Walmart, and it's just a huge bronzer brush. So this is another brush that if you want, you can use it for powder, but it's not as fluffy. It looks huge, but it's not as fluffy as this one. You can kind of see they're both big, but this one's more dense than this. So I wouldn't use this as a powder brush. I feel like it would just maybe interfere with my makeup too much, because you're kind of going all over the face. So for this, I like to use this as a very quick bronzing moment, you know, not precise or anything. Maybe I just don't have time to really, you know, so, or my foundation is way too light and I need to kind of bronze it up a bit, so I'll just go in with my bronzer, and this is going to be just more all over bronzing, you know, if you need to get your chest, you know, whatever. So this is going to be for more of a bigger area, bigger space. So I really like to use this when my foundation's a little too light because I need more area to get bronzed up, or maybe I only have a CC cream or a BB cream and I just want to do a quick bronzing moment, and boom, I'm done. So this is, again, this is going to be a quicker bronzer brush for you to just get the job done, but it's not going to be precise. But I thought I'd mention it. This one is my favorite. So this one is the #1 BH Cosmetics brush, and I think this is from their Rose Quartz collection, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I'll have everything down at the bottom. But yeah, so this one I do use for bronzing. I just love how it's like tapered up at the top and then kind of gets wider as it gets shorter. So the bristles get shorter and the longer bristles are in the middle. But yeah, I love this brush. I actually had it for a very long time. It's been quite a few years. So when I do use it, I can feel the handle wiggle and shake. So I am about to retire this brush very, very soon, but I do have so many brushes in my collection that I don't need to hoard them all. So yeah, so it kind of annoys me when I'm like doing my bronzer and I can feel that. But yeah, and a lot of people will be like, girl, you can reuse it, put some super glue on it. I can, but honestly though, like I already have so many other bronzer brushes that I don't need to keep fixing and hoarding it, you know? So, but yeah, this is one of my favorite bronzer brushes. Another bronzer brush is from the same brush line as the Brightening Brush. This one is from Alamad Cosmetics, and I think this one is her bronzer brush. So I definitely like to use it as bronzer. I know some people who got this brush use it as like their foundation brush as well. And it definitely looks like one of them that I use for foundation. So it does have like these little like bumps in the brush. I mean, it's kind of cool looking. So I have not used it as a foundation brush. I only use it as a bronzer brush, and it really does seamlessly blend in your bronzer and just makes it look absolutely flawless. So this is another favorite of mine. Two more bronzer brushes, guys. So this one is actually from Essence. You can get this at Ulta, you can get this at CVS. There's definitely quite a few different places that have Essence products and makeup, but this one is, again, their bronzer brush. So you can see different companies come out with different versions of bronzer brushes. So this could even easily be used as a blush brush as well. But this one is more of like a lighter brush. It's not as big, it's not as packed. So this one you just dip in and you can just kind of lightly bronze your face. You know, you don't need that much of a bronzy moment. You don't want it to be heavy. You know, you want a light makeup day. So this one's kind of nice because you can just kind of nicely give your skin that glow back without overdoing it. So if you're, if you're heavy-handed and you just dig in and you just kind of get too much makeup on your product, on your brush 2 times, obviously you can always top it off. But yeah, this will be a good brush for you if you're just starting out. Last bronzing brush that I have to show you. I actually just got this brush, but I have been using it probably the past 2 or 3 days. And it is from Eagle Tools, and I knew I was gonna love this brush. I knew it from the start. When I tell you that this brush will make your bronzer look flawless, your face will look filtered, okay? It just, I don't know what this does. So this is a like dual fiber brush. So these types of brushes are going to give you more of like a flawless filtered look. It's gonna do the blending for you. You're not gonna have to, put too much effort in it. This is a great blush. This is a great blush. This is a great brush. How many times do you think I'm gonna say blush instead of brush in this video? I heard that this is a really good brush to use for cream products as well. I have not tried it that way, but this is definitely one that I had to shout out, and is just a great bronzer brush. Blush, 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 blush. I love blush. So I have 3 blush brushes here for you. This one is again from the Alamad Cosmetic line. So I guess I really love her brushes. This one she just has as a complexion brush. Complexion is basically a face brush. So as you can see, the rosy tones, I use this as a blush brush. I usually like my brushes to be angled. I just love as I point the top part of the brush towards like the angle, and I just kind of go up my nose a bit and then just like keep it high, and that's just how I usually apply my brush. These brushes usually make it pretty easy for me to apply the blush the way I like. So yeah, so I like this type of blush brush. A lot of blush brushes are kind of angled like that. And in case you're wondering why I put it on the side of my nose or over my nose, it just gives you that kind of like that sun-kissed, just got burnt, type of look. So I usually go for that type of look. this one, again, very similar to the bronzer brush that I talked about. This one's gonna give you more of a lighter hand and not like really let you overdo it when it comes to your blush. I mean, if you really dig in, you can probably get a good amount of product on your face. But this one is from Equal Tools, and this one is their full blush brush. And again, it's not angled, but what I like to do is I'll just tap it into my blush or get it really in there, and then I kind of just tap it and, you know, swipe maybe a little bit. But at this one here, I usually just tap, and this one's more for like a lighter blush day where I just don't want too much product. So this one is a really nice brush if you are a beginner, and again, heavy-handed. This one is a dual fiber brush. So it's definitely different than the bronzer one. This one is a dual blending brush. So these types of brushes are dual fiber because they have different fiber lengths in there. So usually it's pretty light and feathery up at the top and then more compact towards the bottom. So these types of brushes are really, really nice to just blend and kind of just get everything blended in, so you don't have no harsh lines. You can't see where your blush starts and where your bronzer ends and any of that. It just kind of makes everything look seamlessly. So you can use this brush for that reason. I kind of use this brush for blush. Again, it definitely gives you more of a lighter filtered look, and it just does all the blending for you, so you really don't have to worry too much. So yeah, when I just want a lighter, effortless blush look, I will go in with this brush. Contour. Some of us still contour, some of us don't. Bronzer and contouring are technically two different things. Contouring is when you're really trying to create that shadow and just kind of cut out your cheeks and make you can see here I have like a shadow going down my nose. That's not a natural shadow. It just makes my nose look a little bit more thinner and sleeker. Some people snatch their nose so tight it looks like they can't breathe. But yeah, so you can add a little contour around your forehead if you think your forehead is too, you know, wide. I like to contour under my jaw and create that shadow as well, just to kind of give me a slimmer jawline. I contour underneath my lip. That doesn't last all day, but I do contour underneath my lip just to give me that shadow where it looks like I have a fuller bottom lip. My lips don't really need any help, and then I contour my nose. Not every day, but sometimes. But these brushes are nice to use for like your cheek line, to get that sucked in look, as well as around your face. So this one is my very, very favorite contour brush, and it is literally called a contour brush. So just because it's so little and domed, so I just dip it into my contour, and then I just really focus it. I focus my contour, I'll show you on this side because I don't have as much acne, but you can see where I have my contour, I just really focus it just in that area, just to give me a little bit of that shadow, and then I'll just take it around my head. This one is actually a blush brush. This one here that I showed for blush, and this one is actually a Rite Aid brand. So I did get these brushes at Rite Aid. I know it's weird, who goes to Rite Aid for makeup brushes? Anytime I go to any store, you will find me in the makeup section looking at brushes or makeup. It's just who I am and what I do. So this is actually a blush brush, but I don't like to use it for blush. It's a little bit too compact for blush. That's when you kind of get that little heavy clown look, I feel. So I like to use this for contour, and it's angled. So again, I can just really get in there and just kind of chisel out my cheeks. You can also use this type of brush as well. I wanted to very quickly talk about these brushes. So this one, they're actually all from e.l.f. So again, e.l.f. makes very good makeup brushes. So this one is actually their Putty blush brush. So they came out with these cream blushes, and then they came out with a brush specifically for that product. I don't always buy the brushes that come out with products, because majority of the time your own brushes can do just the same thing. But I really was intrigued by this, and I love this brush for their cream blushes as well as other cream blushes. So again, it's kind of like that dual fiber type of brush, but it is flat. So it's more flat, and then it has those like feathery bristles up at the top. So it kind of just lets you not overdo it, and it basically just does the work for you. So this one's beautiful. These are dual fiber as well, but as you can see, they're a little bit different. So this one kind of reminded me of this one, but this one, as you can see, is more round, and this one's more flat. So this one is their small stipple brush, and then this one here is their domed stipple brush. So you can see it's a little bit more rounded up at the top. It's a little more of a circle. This one I like to use for my cream bronzer and just stipple. For a stipple brush, that's exactly what you do. You just stipple. You don't swirl too much. You just kind of stipple and push that product into the skin. That's what these funky brushes are made for. Cream, that's how I usually cream contour, is I will just stipple in my product with this one. This one I used to use for blush, and then it's kind of funny that they came out with this one for blush. So, and for my cream products is what I use these for. So yeah, I had to talk about these because I know a lot of people probably see these types of brushes and they're like, how do I use those brushes? So let's very quickly go back to contouring. I did show you what brushes I use for my face. But for my nose and for my under my lip, I like to use these types of brushes. This one is from Equate, I believe. And I think this is their crease brush that came in the set. But I use this for contouring. So just the way that it is like shaped, I just use it to really get like on the side of my nose and under my lip. So that's how I use this. So this is a nice brush for that. This one is this one's from Japan Quest as well. This is their 712 brush. And this one is like, I like to use this as a contouring brush as well. You can see it's more like, it does get shorter and it's like on an angle, so it kind of gets longer. And so yeah, so I like to use this just to kind of contour my nose, and then you can use the other edge to get the powder and line it up if you want to bake and make that better, that line sharper. But yeah, so these are the brushes that I use for contouring my nose and under my lip. These very quickly I wanted to talk about before we move on to highlighting brushes. These are called concealer brushes. So this one's from e.l.f. It's their Flawless Concealer Brush. And then this one is from Real Techniques, and it's their Expert Concealer Brush. So for this, when you clean up your brows with concealer, you can use it to kind of just take away the excess concealer. It just kind of lets you see what you're doing instead of using like a sponge. Obviously, a foundation brush is too big to use in that area. And also you can use it to blend your concealer out if you do not want to use a sponge, if you feel like it's taken too much product, because if you use a brush, you're going to get more coverage than if you use a sponge. So if you want to use a brush, you can, but you don't need as much product. You need very little product because again, it's not soaking it up. So if you put the same amount that you would a sponge, you're going to be blending the concealer to your knees. So just a little bit of concealer and you just dab, 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 and blend it in and you're good to go. It's nice to get into those little areas maybe you feel like your sponge can't get to, you know, to blend out maybe your eye primer. So these are just nice brushes. I don't think you need like 20 of them in your collection, but they're nice to have when you're just, you know, when you just need them. So thought I'd shout them out. I have two brushes to show you for highlighter. I obviously have way more, but thought I'd just show you these. One is a little bit more thinner and obviously a little bit more, like I would say, taller, or it looks taller anyways. And then the other one is more shorter bristles, but more like compact and dense. So it all really comes down to how you like your highlight. If I don't want a beaming, glowing highlight, I will just take this brush that's more feathery and just give me a little bit more of a glow. But if the highlight is not that pigmented and I need more product, I'm gonna go in with the dense one and pick up more product. We are getting to the bottom of the tray, guys. So really at this point, we are just at eye brushes, and there are tons and tons of different types of eye brushes for your eyeshadow because there's all types of different detailing work that you do for your eyes. So I have quite a few different crease and blending brushes that I really like. I didn't bring all of them to the table. There's one from Alamat Cosmetics that I really like as well. It's like their green handled one that looks like this. So that one's a really good one. This one is from Sonia Kashuk, and this one is her Tapered Crease Blush. Blush. This one is her Tapered Crease Brush. So this one is what this one looks like. I just love how it's like short and stubby. And yeah, I love this brush. It's a little bit less fluffy, so it really kind of keeps it more in the crease and doesn't blend it like up to my brow. So yeah, this is for more of a little bit more of a precise crease application, but this is going to be your like crease brush to just get that starter shade in there and kind of just a blend. So these two are the Rite Aid brand. So this one is the crease brush, and it also has like a flat liner brush on the other end. So some people like dual end brushes, other people don't because of the way you have to store them. I don't have an issue storing them. I always keep the fluffier brush part on the top, and then I'll keep the liner parts on the bottom. But this one I really love. As you can see, this one's way more like, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this one, the white one, is way more like fluffier than this one. So this one is going to give you more of like that wash of color in your crease, and it's going to kind of flare it out a little bit more, but it's also going to kind of blend it for you. Then this one, you're going to have to put a little bit more work in it. This one's going to be more of a precise application, where this one's kind of just going to effortlessly blend it all out. Then you have your liner at the end. I like to use this side to really tight line my upper lashes, or just smudge some color down on my lower lashes. So I like these types of brushes from when I'm like in a hurry, and I'm like, okay, I gotta do this, and then I gotta do this. You know, it's easy to be able to do more than one thing with one brush when you're in a hurry and you're on the go. Last, when it comes to crease brushes. So this one is the Duo Eyeshadow Brush. So this one's kind of like a crease brush as well. It's not flat, it's more rounded, kind of just like a crease blushes, or this one's more like a crease or blending brush. And then you have this one's kind of more like a pencil brush, but like a little bit more thicker, a little smudger. I don't know really what you want to call it, but what I do, and again, I love these dual-ended brushes, is when I'm in a hurry and I need to get my eyeshadow done, I'll dip it into my bronzer or my crease eyeshadow, put that in the crease, flip it over, dip it, get under the eye, boom, done. So this one's a great one. This one here, I just wanted a quick show. This one's the number 10 BH Cosmetics brush, and I don't even know what collection this one's from, but this one is more of like an angled eyeshadow crease brush sort of thing. So for these types of brushes that are angled, what I like to do is, you know, when you need to just kind of maybe smoke out that outer corner, add more dimension, do that little smoky eye, so I just dip it into the product. I'll keep the angled part up, and that kind of just forms that like cat eye for you in a way. And it helps also like that it's so easy. So it's kind of hard to show you when I'm not applying anything, but again, you just use it like kind of facing up towards your eyebrow and pack on that product, and then you can blend a little bit, and it's just going to instantly give you that outer corner dimension, if that makes sense. I wanted to do a demo with showing you guys these brushes, but I felt like it was just going to be way too long. It's already going to be a long video, so I didn't do the demo as well. But I will have some more future educated makeup videos coming up that will definitely teach you guys how to apply basically everything. It's going to be a series where it's going to be a full face, but broken up, of course, on how to apply your foundation, how to apply concealer, how to apply bronzer, contour. It's just going to be step by step, because there's a lot of people personally that I know that are like, I want to kind of get into makeup, but like I don't know how to use it or what to do, you know, like I never applied concealer in my ever in my entire life, and I'm like, what planet are you from? So those videos will be for you, and you will see these brushes in action then. All over the eyelid eyeshadow brushes I'm going to show you next. So I think I only brought out one really. So this one, as you can see, it's shorter, and then I did bring out a shader brush. So you can kind of see the difference between like your normal eyeshadow brush is usually what they will call this. Well, this one's called a blurring brush. I don't know why it's calling a blurring brush. Maybe to pack on like a small amount of powder to blur. I don't know. But usually these types of brushes, usually eyeshadow brushes, look just like this. And really it's just for all over the eyelid. So I used this brush today to pack on the very light eyeshadow. So these types of brushes basically kind of replace those spongy eyeshadow applicators that come in your eyeshadow palettes, especially at the drugstore, you know, where you get that dual-ended spongy eyeshadow applicator and you kind of just, you know, use that. So these kind of replace those. So instead of just throw those away, they're not good. And yeah, so you just pack on your eyeshadow and that's it. This one's a shader brush. So this one, some people like to call this like a packing brush as well. So really it's just longer, it's flatter, and basically it's gonna pick up more product than what this brush will. So it's gonna pick up way more product, and you're gonna use that. I'm not gonna put it on my eye just so you can see better, but you're just gonna pack it on, and that's when you're gonna really get that full pigment, full color. It's nice to use when you wanna do a bold eye. So some people will pick up the color and then they'll just kind of use this type of brush and blend it, and they're like, it's not even that pigmented. So you really want to use a packer brush, and you're going to pick up that pigment and you're going to pack it, and then you worry about your blending later on. So when it comes to like shimmers and like your more creamier eyeshadows, I like to use this type of brush. So this one here is a small shader brush. So it's kind of a smaller version of this type of brush. So I like to dip this into like my shimmers and glitters in my eyeshadow palettes. And these are kind of like almost the next best thing as to using your finger. Whichever, if you have long nails and you can't use your finger, this will be the next best thing. Squirt some water, dip it into that shimmer, and boom. So it all really comes down to the brush that you're using. Please do not use a fluffy brush like this to dip into your shimmers and your glitters in your eyeshadow palettes and then be like, there's nothing. This type of brush is not for that. This is going to be for more your matte powders, or you're like, this one's a shimmery eyeshadow, but it's not like a metallic, you know, like shimmery, sparkly shade. So this one is the one where it's gonna like be like boom, you know. So yeah, or not this one, this one. This one's from Alamat Cosmetics, and I think this one is either another shader brush, or she might have like called this her concealer brush. I think this one's a concealer brush. So this one's a little bit different than the other concealer brushes. This one is kind of made, a lot of people use this to clean up their brows. So it's going to give you that sharp line, not like sharp as like, you know, but it's going to give you a very clean line when you clean up your brows. I don't clean up my brows all the time. I really don't. Or you can use it to kind of pack on some concealer over a blemish, and you know, it's going to give you a little bit more coverage. These brushes are your eye contour brush. My daughter's making throat noises. She's just bored. But these are from e.l.f. It's their, well, the one is called the eye contour brush. The other one is just called contour brush. So I used to use this brush to contour my nose before I moved on to the other brushes. But Liana, you're gonna hurt your throat. But what I like to use these for now is to just go under the eye and kind of smudge out the color under my eye. Just like how you would use a normal pencil brush. I like using those types of brushes too. They're like this, but basically they're a little bit more, way thinner. And you can kind of just get in there more. But I like to use these because they're softer and just fluffier and blend it out effortlessly. So I like these brushes for that reason. You have your liner brushes. So this is what this type of brush looks like. You have your different versions. This one's a little bit more angled. And then this one is like a flat liner brush. So these flat liner brushes, just like on the other end of the other eyeshadow brush I showed you, you can tight line and get that little line going at your lashes. You can even use it to get some eyeshadow under your lash line. So that's what you can use that for. These are gonna be more for your liner, like your maybe your liquid eyeliner or your gel eyeliner. So you're gonna just dip it and kind of just form that wing. I am not good at applying gel liner with these types of brushes. So what I like to use these brushes for is if I want to do like some glitter detail or do like a cut crease, some liquid eyeshadow, like a glitter eyeshadow from Stila or something, I will just go ahead and use these brushes. So I will just dip it in the glitter and just kind of do my little detailing. So they're very great for that as well. But yeah, originally they were made for like liquid or gel eyeliner. Next are these kind of very weird tiny crease brushes or blending brushes. So this one is from Luxie and this one is their blending brush. And you're probably thinking, how in the world? It's so tiny, it's so thin, it's so feathery, like what? So these types of brushes, think of it as basically your mini dual fiber brush. So these types of brushes is you're just going to use these brushes to blend. So once you get your eyeshadow on, you got your crease, you got your smoky eye, and you're like, ooh, we're looking a little like harsh, you know, they don't, you know, you want your eyeshadow to just blend and you just don't want to see any lines. This is the type of brush you're going to use. So you're just going to go right where you need it to and you're just going to blend. Really not going to put any product on the brush. You're just going to use it to blend out those harsh lines. This one is the number 6 and basically it's the same thing. It's like a smaller blending brush. You can also use these types of brushes if you want to get very precise. That's what I like to use this one for. This one is the Luxie mini tapered brush and it almost looks like the contour brushes, but it's way more like thinner and not so compact with the bristles. So really for this type of brush, I like to dip it and get really into my crease. So if I already applied my you know, crease shade or my transition shade, but I want a little bit more of a shadow in my crease, this one I'll just dip and get really into that eye socket and just focus it there, and that's going to give me just a little bit more dimension. So that's how I would use that brush. Last but not least, you have your Kabuki brush. So these brushes come kind of in different ways. The handle might be a little bit longer. These might be the bristles might be a little bit more compact. It might not be as fanned out. But these Kabuki brushes are just kind of nice to have. Some people like to use them to powder their face. Some people like to use them to apply foundation. I do have a Kabuki brush that I do like to apply foundation with, powder and liquid. So it really depends on how the bristles are. This one here, I really like to kind of just go over everything and just blend everything in, you know, like just kind of, you know, you can use a stipple brush to do that, like a blending stipple brush or dual fiber brush, or you can just use a Kabuki brush. So this type of brush, if someone showed me it and said, what can I do with this? I would say use it to pack on some powder if you don't have a powder brush already, or just kind of use it to just buff everything in, just so everything looks seamless. And you can use kind of like a nice powder to do that. And yeah. All right, guys, that is everything. Like I said, there's definitely way more brushes out there. And like I said, at the end of the day, use your brush however you want. So yeah, like I mentioned before, guys, makeup and makeup brushes have no rules. You can use your brush however you like. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone is gonna like this type of powder brush. Not everyone is gonna like this type of foundation brush, you know? So at the end of the day, you know, it's whatever you like. You definitely have to play and experiment with makeup and makeup brushes until you kind of figure yourself out and kind of figure how you like your makeup to look and how to be applied. This is kind of just like a little starter kit of, you know, like I need a blush brush, but I don't even know what the heck a blush brush looks like, you know? So usually the brushes do have either on the packaging or on the brush handles what they're made for. But at the end of the day, you can make them for whatever you want. So yeah, so I hope this helped someone out there. This video was requested. So hopefully I answered your questions, and if I didn't, I am so sorry. I feel like I should have though, because this video is so like long. But definitely reach out to me and I will be more than happy to help you guys figure out what your brushes are for. If you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. That way you will be notified for all my future uploads, and give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful. Definitely comment below, help each other out as well. If you have any more additional information or details, go ahead and comment below. We're all a big family here. My uploading schedule has changed. If you have not seen on my channel, like if you click on my page and my channel, up at the top, you will see the days that I will be uploading. So I am now uploading Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It used to be Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, but that is no more just because I'm still trying to figure things out, what's really going to work best for me and my schedule with work and being a mom and everything. So new uploading schedule will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Until next time, guys. Mwah. I love you guys. Until next time. Bye.